Welcome back, sleepyheads. So, I want to discuss feelings of poverty and lack and being stuck, and how that ultimately leads to the true millionaire mindset. So, I was taking a bath, and I think that's where I have all of my really good perception shifts. I mean, I love how clear my mind gets when I take a bath. And think about that, the water, the womb, the flow. I mean, it really is all in sync. But for the last, 8 years of my life, I've really been working on my mindset and my belief and developing the sense of knowing that I'm wealthy. And despite all the affirmations that I've done, all the self hypnosis, all the meditations, it has been so difficult to get my immediate consciousness to perceive that reality as truth. But I realized that, the blessing, well, that's the whole thing. I wasn't really acknowledging the blessing of being in a state of lack, feeling stuck, and, coming out of the circumstances of poverty. And I certainly, grew up in situations, well, I grew up with a single mom. And, I always like to joke and tell people that I was, upper class poor, like we had food and, sometimes we, had experiences where certain bills couldn't be paid, no hot water, like electricity for a couple of days, or just having to eat everything in the cabinet. I experienced all of those situations, and growing up like that, seeing, your parent freak out over a bill or even a bill bringing them to a state of tears, it definitely did create a lot of financial anxiety in me. So by the time I got to college and, I was gaining that independence, in my mind, I just thought I need to work really hard to, escape that sense of lack and fear and poverty. So I had 2, 3 jobs. I just did everything I could to gain that sense of security. And I overworked myself and I put myself through, grad school, not even for the sake of, knowledge, but for the sake of securing, my finances in the future and giving myself more options for what I could do and, the different routes that I could take when it came to my career. So much of how I was living my life and going about my life really revolved around that sense of lack and fear and my issues with poverty. And all of the work that I did to start healing that, I mean, it's taken me several years. And even though in my subconscious, I know that, I'm wealthy and I have access to all this abundance. And even though I've reiterated that so many times to my consciousness, it's taken a long time for it to sink in. But I realize it's because I was never in that space of having gratitude for, my poverty experiences and the different challenges I've faced because of it. And because I was always fighting against it, I was out of the flow. I was in a space of, pushing away, the attraction of money and abundance, because if I were truly in that space of acceptance and being at peace, I would be grateful for all of the internal blessings that that sense of lack and poverty has brought me. And I think the internal lessons include, being more resourceful, learning, the true value of a dollar, being able to make money stretch, being able to save, and learning, the greater consequences of what can happen if you, aren't more careful or more mindful, but also embracing the experience and being grateful for finding pleasure in the simple things in life, like a trip, to a hiking trail becomes a sense of luxury. And when you do have that time to or the money to dine out or go on a trip, you appreciate it a lot more and you really make the most of that experience compared to somebody who can go on a trip every other week or travel here and there. It will not energetically be the same. You know, you just become a lot more confident in your sense of self. And I hate to say this too, but poverty breeds a lot of character because you don't have the means to follow the latest trends or go about having the latest technologies. You're forced to really develop your own sense of style and your own you know perception of what's cool, or what you like to do, or just it really forces you to develop your sense of self in a different way. And creatively, poverty puts you into this space where you really DIY things in your life. So you can make, something out of nothing. You can really achieve your goals, despite not having investors or, scholarships or different opportunities to help you have that leg up. I often like to think about Soldier Boy because poverty and being in that state of lack, it forces you to create your own path for your goals. And when you have that ability to take on that leadership role and to set a new path to achieve a certain kind of goal, you blaze that trail for others to follow. And Soldier Boy is a great example because he really created the online marketing and social media and, music development scene. Um, and I think he gets a lot of respect for that, and he absolutely deserves it. But just think about how you could do that or how others have done that in different career paths. And of course, the computer, online, the internet, it's given us so many different ways to develop, different pathways for our goals. And so you really just have to take advantage of every little resource, every little skill you have. You really have to be confident. It forces you to believe in yourself to a higher degree. It forces you to stay positive and to develop a sense of trust within yourself and security. So that space of poverty and lack leads you to the millionaire mindset of being abundant within and knowing that you have everything you need to not only create the life that you want for yourself, but to achieve those goals. And when you can get to that space, the real millionaire mindset kicks in when you can actually believe, that you are wealthy now. And, by wealthy, I don't mean like rich and getting into that space of greed and having way more than you could ever need, but having enough to pay your bills, get medical treatments, travel 3 times a year, eat high quality foods. To me, that is wealthy. And number wise, that can be a lot of different things depending on where you live and, the size of your family and different aspects like that. But overall, I really do think it's important that people, you know, I mean, there's a dark force and there's a positive force to every perspective and every challenge in life. And the dark force of poverty is going to put you into that space of, fear and loss and anxiety and just being constantly worried about losing this or having enough or when will it change and when will it come. And that not only brings you out of the present moment, but it brings you out of alignment. And being in the positive force of poverty and lack, it forces you to be in that state of acceptance and gratitude and to really focus on the positive outcomes that, poverty has created in your life. I mean, would you be as stylish? Would you, have created the things you have created? Would you be as thought provoking? Would your art be as deep? Would you be as hungry, as an entrepreneur? Would you be as savvy? Would you be as driven and motivated? It would be a completely different story if it were the other way around. And so while it's challenging and difficult and it can be frustrating and stressful, be sure to go back to that space of, but it's okay. I'm okay, My life is pretty good. I'm able to create some fantastic meals on a budget. I'm able to be a really savvy thrift shopper, where I'm able to make my material belongings stretch well beyond their years. I mean, this shirt that I'm wearing, I've had it for like 8 years. And, I didn't, like, it did come with holes in it. It's one of the few things that I've purchased that have had holes in it. But, it's little things like that. And I've even been in that state where I've been like, but I need this and that to move this goal forward. But it's not true. You just have to be resourceful and you have to think outside of the box. And I think that's another blessing of poverty and lack. And another aspect to it is getting out of that state of mind of feeling stuck because you're not stuck. You're just moving at a different space. And if you focus on the internal changes that your challenges are bringing you, it's really going to help you see that you're moving forward because you cannot have the external changes without the internal changes in your life first, you know? And I think so much about luxury culture, the American standards of living and flex culture have really altered people's perspective of what lack and poverty is. And I think it's driven that mentality to be even more detrimental on a spiritual level because, it's the simple things in life that are true luxury, true blessings, true abundance and wealth, It's being able to have a garden, food on your table, people to be around and laugh with, and, it's being able to create something out of nothing, you know, that is true magic. That is abundance. That is thinking outside of the box and embracing a challenge and saying, okay, let's see, what I can make of this situation and how I can turn it into this really beautiful experience. And it's when you get to that space, you'll have this complete shift in your outer world. Because again, if you're fighting against that challenge, if you're putting pressure on yourself, if you're living in that worry and that fear and that anxiety, you're out of alignment, you're against the flow, and you're not going to be in a state where you can attract that wealth and that abundance into your life. And that's why it's so important to bring in that inner calm, that inner peace, and to focus on the ways in which that state of poverty or lack has given you blessings and character, strength, belief, trust, and faith, and skill set and mindset, the different people you've encountered, it's really a beautiful thing if you think about it. And that is the millionaire mindset. It's a person who can say, rich or poor, I am wealthy, and you're never without. And you're always in a state where you know that you'll get what you need because not only are you in that state of alignment, but you're not in a state of fear or worry. You are trusting that as long as you are continuing to believe and move forward and put in the effort to, see the outer changes that you want in your life, and you're healing from those traumas and what you may have endured as a child with poverty or lack, and you're reiterating to yourself that you're not stuck, you're not stagnant, that your life is moving forward. That is how you really bring in that millionaire mindset. That is how you create new opportunities and wealth for yourself. You know, but that's all I have for this video, sleepyheads. Very soon, well, maybe not very soon, but I am having some really positive changes with just getting my consciousness to that space of knowing that I'm wealthy and being able to really attract and bring in those energies so that I can see it in my outer world, because I've definitely, have been focusing on the ways in which my experiences with lack and poverty have helped me become the person that I am today and helped me heal internally and develop that strength and resiliency and the belief that I need in myself and life in general to know that things can be different, things will get better, and all of those goals I have, something will become of them. But be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.